I'm going to be making up a Spanish dish today. What we're going to be cooking up is a paella. Now this paella is going to be chicken and chorizo. Nice meaty one, really simple to do, but absolutely yummy. Now to make this paella, I just want to quickly run you through the ingredients we're going to use. Now first of all, I've got a couple of good sized chicken breasts, so use chicken breasts because it just makes it easier, you know, chop it up into sort of smaller sort of bite-sized pieces. Then we've got some Spanish chorizo, which is like a smoked or cured sausage. What we're going to do is take the skin off it and chop it down into smaller pieces because that adds some really nice flavours. It's got paprika and garlic and it's just really nice, the chorizo. Then I've got a whole bag of paella rice. Use this rice because it is the best one. It kind of goes a bit starchy and a little bit sticky and it's just really nice with the paella. So use that one because it's the one they use. Now the other things I've got for this paella, I've got some peas there. I mean, you can use frozen peas, gives it a bit of colour, you know, just adds a little bit to the flavour at the end. Then we've got some olives. I've got a mixture of green and black. You don't have to use olives, use what you want. Green ones, black ones, your choice. I've got a few good sized cloves of garlic. Crush that down or chop it down nice and fine. Then we've got an onion. Now if you're not that keen on onion, you could use half an onion, but I'm going to use the whole onion and again chop it down nice and fine. Then we've got a red sort of bell pepper, so cut it up and, you know, obviously wash it and things. Take all the seeds out, so chop it into smallish sort of bits. Then I've got some chicken stock, so we're going to add that with some boiling water because obviously we need, you know, to put water in for the rice, and it's better to add chicken stock because it's all about getting the flavours in the rice. Then we've got some saffron. Now this is sort of like adds a bit to the colour really, little strands there. We just want like a little, you know, sprinkling of that. I've also got some turmeric. Then I've got some paprika, nice smoky flavour, add a little bit of that in. I've got some white wine. Try and use a wine that you drink, but again, you know, if you don't want wine, you don't have to add it. I'm just going to add it because it puts a little bit again of the flavours in. I'm going to cook it with some olive oil. And I've then got 4 eggs which I'm going to boil up just to dress it up at the end. So once it's all cooked, just serve it up, cut the sort of eggs in half, looks really nice. So that's all the ingredients. Let's get on with actually chopping it all up and then get on with the cooking. So I've got all the ingredients all chopped up, ready to go so we can enjoy and get on with the cooking and make this really delicious paella. Now I've got my pan there, I've got a kind of paella pan, and you know it's quite a big sort of pan, but if you haven't got one of those, obviously just use the biggest frying pan you've got really. Now to give you an idea, size wise, this is about 13 inches, which is about 32-33 centimetres, so it's quite a big sort of pan. So what I'm going to do, start off, put a bit of olive oil in there, and then we're going to start frying up the onions and get it all going. So first of all, let's just put a bit of oil in the pan. So a bit of olive oil, put a reasonable splash. And I'm just going to switch the heat on to a sort of medium or just below really. I don't want it too hot because what I'm going to do is put the onions in there, but I don't really want to brown them, just soften them. So keep the heat down a little bit. So it's just starting to warm up. So I'm just going to put the onions in there. So I've chopped them reasonably fine. Give those a good mix up. Get them all covered with that oil. As soon as you put the onions in, lovely smell straight away. I've only been cooking for about a minute. Now what I'm going to do is just make a place in the middle there. And I'm just going to put in all that chicken. I'm also going to season it, a bit of salt. And at the same time, I've got all this sort of chorizo. Now I took the skin off and I kind of roughly chopped it, so I'll get all that in there. I'm just going to put that chorizo in there. Lovely. Smells really good when you get the sort of chorizo in that, and I love the smell. So what I'm going to do, just for a few minutes, I'm just going to turn the heat up, because what I want to try and do is to sort of just give a little bit of colour and release the sort of flavours and that lovely sort of colouring that comes out of the chorizo. So get the onion out of the way and just try and get all the meat on the bottom of the pan to get a bit of colour. And all these colours, look, you can see it straight away coming out of all this chorizo. Beautiful. And it smells so good. So just spread it around. So I've been cooking for sort of 3 or 4 minutes now in total. We sort of fried off the onions very lightly for a minute or two, and then we put the meat in there. So the meat's had just like a couple of minutes. I'm just stirring it, and you can see the colours are already going onto that chicken. Lovely. So just try and turn the meat over a little bit, and we're going to also just mix up a little bit of the onion. Again, make a little place there in the middle. I'm just going to pop in the red pepper. I'm just going to put the red peppers in there. And just mix it all around. Just try and get everything nicely covered. And all these flavours that are coming out of all this, the sort of ingredients, are just going to go into that rice. And it's just going to be so tasty. Whatever sort of spoonful you have, it's going to be absolutely delish. And I'm just going to add about a teaspoon of turmeric. Again, a little spoonful of paprika. Also, good time to put in that sort of crushed up or really finely chopped garlic. Give that a good stir around. I'd say just cook for, a total, I'd say of about 10 minutes, just to get everything nicely coated, and then we can just put the rice in there. So now I've got all the ingredients, give them a good stir up. Smells so yummy. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put a little bit of white wine in here, but obviously if you don't drink, don't worry, you don't have to add it. But I'm just going to put a little bit of white wine in there. I think it just adds a little bit to the flavour. We're just going to kind of burn off the alcohol, and it just leaves the flavour. So I might just turn it up for a moment, just to burn some of that off. Mix it all up. Let it reduce down a little bit. And then we're just going to put the rice in there. So I've been cooking for about 10 minutes in total. Absolutely, the aromas are just, heavenly, beautiful, love it. Now, what we're going to do is add in that rice. Now I haven't washed the rice or anything, just literally, just pour it in. I'm going to use the whole bag. Give it a good mix up and get all those sort of, the juices and that, just coat all that rice. So, just mix that all up, get it all nicely coated. Whoops. But be careful you don't drop any. I might just turn the heat down for a moment. So I've got all that rice mixed up and it's kind of already absorbing all those juices. Now what I'm going to do is put the chicken stock. Now initially I'm just going to put like a couple of pints of chicken stock, which is about 1 litre. So just pop that all in there. It looks like it's a lot, but it's really going to absorb it. And to be honest with you, chances are we're going to need to add a little bit more anyway. So let's just bring it up to a boil. Once it comes to the boil, then turn it down to a simmer. And I would say you're looking at about 25-30 minutes. Really it's until the rice is nice and it's sticky and it's just delicious and all the liquids kind of disappeared. So let's bring it up to a boil and then we'll turn it down to a simmer. Just while I'm waiting for mine to come to a boil, I'm just going to give it a nice gentle stir, because you want to be nice and gentle with this, don't want to sort of overwork it. So just try and get everything mixed up and sitting in some juice. That's it, just wait for that to come up to a boil. And whilst I'm waiting for that to come to a boil, I've got some eggs in the back and I've just put them in some cold water and I'm just going to switch them on. And I'm just going to boil these for about 10 minutes and then they're ready so we can switch them off. So just in the background I'm just boiling the eggs, which we're going to chop in half and just lay on the paella at the end. And mine's just come up to a boil. Now what I'm going to use is a bit of that saffron. So let's just get a good pinch of this really. And just sprinkle it in. That's it. Just put a little bit there. I'll give it a mix up and then I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. I'd say for about 25-30 minutes, but keep an eye on it because you don't want the rice to burn and stick to the bottom of the pan. So let's turn it down to a simmer. What I'd say is you want to kind of simmer this away on a really nice low setting So it's kind of bubbling away. I mean, sometimes I move the pan to the other side because this is a smaller hob and it just simmers a little bit lower, and I might in fact even do that. I might just move it across. So what I'm going to do is move mine to the smaller hob. I'm just going to switch that one off to the smaller hob. Now I'm also, I think I'll just pop my olives in at this stage. You can put them in at any time, but I'm just going to put mine in now while there's a bit of liquid there. Now we're about halfway through the cooking, so we've had the rice in there for about 15 minutes with the liquid. So I'm just going to give it a gentle move around, because what you don't want to do is to find your rice is all sticking. Now I know this is going to need a little bit more liquid, so I'm just going to add a little bit more into there. Now before I do that, I just want to taste what we got and see how it is for seasoning. Let me try that. The rice is obviously a little bit chewy still, but obviously I'm just tasting it for seasoning. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit more salt to mine, but do that to taste. Doesn't hurt to actually taste it, see how it is, because obviously you've got the sweetness of the onion and you've also got the red peppers and things like that. So now I'm also going to add in a little bit more water, because obviously we've got about another 15 minutes to go yet. So it's a kind of balance. You want to make sure there's enough water so that it kind of cooks everything and spreads those flavours into the rice, and you don't want too much because at the end you don't want to be left with loads of liquid. So I'm going to come back in about 10 minutes, that'll be 25 minutes then, and just see how it is. Now I've been cooking for just about 25 minutes, so in really the last minute or two you want to just pop in the peas. Gives it a nice colour and just adds a little bit to the flavour. So I'm just going to be really gentle, and I'm just going to see how the paella is, just to make sure it's not all sticking to the bottom. Now I'm going to turn the heat off at this stage, and once I've given it a very gentle mix, I'm going to put a little bit of tin foil over it. I'm just going to leave it. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of tin foil on mine, 5 or 10 minutes, just to let the rice absorb a little bit more of those juices. And then we can serve it up and try it, and I'm sure you'll have a delicious paella. Now I've left my paella for about 5 minutes, can't wait any longer. Let's have a look at that. It's nice to have a little bit of liquid, not too much though. That is going to be beautiful. So I'm just going to move the paella over to the table. This is going to be gorgeous. Oh. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to serve mine up a little bit of egg. So just, you know, cut it in half really. A little bit of egg's really nice. And obviously you can serve that on a plate with, you know, a little roll or a little bit of nice bread. So I might serve it up, but equally, because it looks so delicious, I might actually try some straight from the pan. Now first of all, before I serve it up, let's just have a look and see if our one's stuck. Look at that, really nice at the bottom. It's not stuck to the bottom of the pan, beautiful. So let's just try some of that. There's a bit of chicken there, look, a bit of chorizo. Yeah, I've got almost a bit of everything there. Let's just try that. Oh, that is hot, but absolutely so delicious. The rice really has sucked in all those flavours. That is absolutely beautiful. Simple paella, 30 minutes, all yours. Now, I just want to say thanks for watching. It's without you people that I could not have got where I am now. So really nice to see so many of you, people subscribing, watching me videos, rating them, whatever. Everything is great. So all the best, the original Naked Chef.